What if, instead of showcasing our college degrees, job accolades, and prestigious awards, our resumes dared to list our detours, dead ends, failures, and employment gaps? What if that list of all the scraps and screw-ups of our careers is where the real seeds of possibility lie?
We offer up the muddy mess to showcase that nothing is wasted. Every experience counts and creates the conditions for new life and growth. The scraps, the leftovers, the discarded stuff, its richness is the fertile soil for new life to take root. Even in the times we've been hurt, disappointed, let down, these shitty experiences make way for new learnings.
Here's the executive director of the Wallis Annenberg GenSpace, Christopher Leech, and his contribution to the shit pile. You have had this really interesting journey. I like how you called them olders, where your life has been dedicated to olders. And I am wondering if you've ever felt some serious moments of stuckness or confusion about the direction of your pathway.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had this experience. I sort of found myself working with folks living with dementia. I did that through high school and college. I graduated college in 2009, which was like right after, I remember sort of like vaguely reading in the news, there was something about a financial crisis and talking about the economy, but really not understanding what that means or how that might impact my life. And so then when I graduated and I thought, okay, I did everything I was supposed to do. I got my, double degrees, and now I'm going to get my first job, because that's kind of the messaging, right? You go to college, you do well in school, and then you get your first job. And it was a real struggle. I couldn't find anything directly. I had studied psychology, and I was thinking I wanted to become a psychologist. And so I was looking for work that I could do in research, or perhaps more in a nonprofit sort of client services. And at that time, for I would say 3 to 6 months after I graduated, it was super challenging. But what I did find was an internship in senior living. And I have to say, felt a little ambivalent about it, because I thought, okay, well, that's what I've been doing, but I wanted to get different experience. And so I did that for 2 years and was hired on as a memory care director. But when I started working, particularly sort of in a for-profit senior living memory care, which is much further down the dementia journey than the folks that I had been working with. When somebody is in a residential facility, a lot of times, you're dealing with end-of-life issues. Not to knock it. I mean, it's really important work, and that's a really important part of the continuum of care, but it's challenging work. And when you're 22 and you're just kind of like, okay, I have folks that are on hospice here. There's sort of this process that I sort of understand with how we're treating these folks, and they're passing away, but also I'm sort of managing a team of caregivers and have relatively limited resources. And so in that moment, I would say, is this what I want to do? I was sort of experiencing a lot of honestly, frankly, grief when residents would pass away. And I didn't really feel like I had anybody to talk to about that, because I think in my immediate work environment, that was something that at least higher ups, they had been in that for a while and they were used to. And then talking to peers that were not in this, elder care ecosystem at all, it's kind of a downer, like talking about, I'm sad about the person that died at brunch. But I do have a very distinct memory of coming back from a weekend away. And typically, I would know if a resident passed away, but there was one that it happened overnight and I didn't know about it. And I went into her room, and normally she had this quilt on the bed and she had, her posters up, and it was all gone. And it was just kind of a gut punch moment of like, wow, this is so sad. So that's when I thought, okay, maybe I'm not sure I want to keep working with older adults. I feel like I kind of fell into this, and it was what was, I wouldn't say easy, but it's in that moment, in that economy that we were in, that's what I was able to do. And it's, I guess, maybe on some level what I was good at, what I had experience in. So I was thinking, okay, I can't get this research job that I'm looking for. I can't quite find the experience that I want. So I think maybe I should go and get a master's degree, like so many millennials my age did at that time. And so I was thinking a lot about ethics and sort of how do you manage those resources at end of life? Is this the right way? Are there other models out there? I had also studied philosophy as my other degree. And so I became interested in this field, bioethics, and I found this program at Columbia and sort of honestly, there was only like 2 or 3 places I applied, but I was very surprised that I got in, and I just decided to jump at the opportunity to move from Sacramento, where I was living, to New York City and take this program in bioethics that I thought I was going to go in and try and maybe think about working with another population and get research experience and maybe go into law or public policy or more research. But then as I went into that program, it was sort of a mixed generation program. There was folks that were very sort of early in their careers like me, but then there was also people that were already doctors, people that were already social workers that were further in their careers. And the whole program was really thinking about, okay, how do we need to sort of change around healthcare to address, as technology is increasing, these ethical dilemmas that come up in terms of you can keep somebody alive longer. What is their quality of life? How are we treating them? And I just found myself like, what I had to contribute was my experience in aging and my experience working in end of life. And so there was sort of this, I don't know, like this reluctant acceptance. And then eventually I would say I embraced the fact that there is this huge demographic shift in our society where everybody is getting older. I think in the past, it was sort of a pyramid, right? Where, the oldest people, there was less of them. And then the youngest generations, there's more. And now it's turning to more of a square where all the generations are the same size. And so these problems are getting more and more common. And so I thought, okay, if not a lot of people are drawn to working with this population, clearly on some level I am, whether it's because of what I fell into or it's because of that experience, I probably should keep working in this space. But what was exciting about that program was it got me out of this sort of specifically sort of the dementia care world, which, not to knock it, I think that's very important work, but I got to sort of think about innovation and technology and really started thinking about what can we do earlier for folks as they get older to hopefully help them to age a little bit more successfully and hopefully maybe reduce, incidences of dementia, or if not, at least create more opportunities for joy.
Mm-hmm. When did you finally, it sounds like you embraced it while you were doing the master's degree, but where in your journey were you like, this is the population I love and am meant to work with?
I think what really kind of transformed my viewpoint on it was I was thinking about technology, and I was writing a paper on older adults and technology, and I literally Googled older adults technology, and I found this nonprofit, Older Adults Technology Services, that was based out of Brooklyn, and they were opening a center called Senior Planet on 25th Street in Chelsea, and it was a tech-themed senior center, they were calling it. And I decided to apply to the job just because I thought that's very interesting. I have this experience, but visiting that space, it's not quite like GenSpace, but in a way, the design aesthetic was very sleek and modern, almost like an Apple store. And again, it had that feeling of inspiring people to try something new and inspiring people to be creative and curious. And so I got that job as a program manager, and I got to work with these folks that, it wasn't somebody living with dementia that I was caring for. It was folks that were sort of opting in. And these are like older New Yorkers who are, I think, some of the most interesting. Anybody that can live in New York City for 60, 70 years, like they've got stories, they've got grit. And it's kind of a different breed of people, I feel like. And that's where I really kind of fell in love with working with this population, because I think I realized there's no two 80-year-olds that are the same. And I think the ones that are like super energetic and super just off the wall and will say something that surprises you, it just brings a smile to my face and makes me excited. So I think that was kind of that experience. Those couple of years was what really made me fall in love with the population.
His moment of stuckness that, he graduates college, it's 2009. He can't get any of the jobs he actually wants. So he has to go back to the thing, at such a young age, the only thing he has any expertise in was senior living. And yet this, that being such an example of a detour or what felt like a dead end in that moment ends up continuing to lay the groundwork for a career that he currently has where he feels like he's flourishing.
when you're thinking about the it, not it moments in your life, right, where you're testing things out, for him, that was a not it moment of being around people who were so close to dying, right? That was another person's calling. It wasn't his.
Right.
And so it was important for him to live that, experience that, be broken by it, right? Be heartbroken by it, and then realizing, okay, I can't persist in this.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
For more, make sure you listen to the full episode of A Life Worth Working with Christopher Leech.